And we are online. Okay. Hello, everyone. All the people out there joining us today. I see that many of you are dialing in, and super excited to welcome you on this Friday. Many of you may be already celebrating Lunar New Year, the year of ox, very sexual animal. But on a more serious note, today with us at this EIT Health Alumni Meets series, we are meeting Team Parolu. They are the silver winners of the European Innovation Day finals. And they are doing something that maybe you don't hear that much, but a new kind of app that focuses on the sexual health education to improve that well, that you will hear in a few. But if you are first time attending a EIT Health Alumni event, before I hand over the words to the team itself, who are all dialed in and ready and super excited to share their wisdom with you today. A few words, what is EIT Health Alumni? So we are pan-European network, actually some members even outside Europe, that are connecting the innovators who are building the future of healthcare. And we think by philosophy, by alumni for all. So everything we do, it's on voluntary based. We have like many local reps across Europe. We have also more than 2,000 members and growing. And if you have not heard about, and this is like your first event, then actually also after this webinar, you are eligible to join us and participate all the upcoming events as well. The reasons why you should sign in and subscribe, we do not only webinars, there are also different trainings. In the non-COVID-19 times, we had also in-person trainings across Europe. There are also health summits. You can also get internships from our member companies and many, many more. So check out the website alumni.eithealth.eu for more information. But no further ado, I give this floor now to a team itself. I stop my screen sharing. They are going to introduce what's the interesting thing they are working on these days. And then later, we are going to take questions and answers. So if you are getting some exciting ideas you want to ask from the team later, like after the presentation, type them in the chat box, and I will be picking up and asking them from the team so you would get your responses. But without further ado, floor is given to you. Alba, Carla, Dani, and Blanca.
Thank you, Timo. I don't know, can you hear me okay? Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
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 Well, yeah, thank you, Timo, for the introduction. And first of all, also thank you to EIT Health for the invitation and the opportunity. And thank you to all of you who are joining from home remotely here today. My name is Alba, and I'm one of the co-founders of Parolu, which, as Timo and Iria described, is a project to launch an effective sexual educational app. But I would like to start off by saying that this is all new to us. When we were told about this opportunity, we didn't hesitate, as this is huge for us, but we were struggling a bit to see what we wanted to share and how we wanted to share it. As Timo pointed out to us, it's actually Valentine's Day this Sunday, so I guess that makes it a bit more relevant. But anyways, what I want to start off by saying really is that we're no experts by any means in this subject, but we want to share our experience till this point and see if at least any of you guys can get something useful from today. So please, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask. But now I'll give you a bit of details about our project. So to start off, our team is currently made of 6 members. We're all from Barcelona. And as you can see, we have a bit of a mix in background. Some of us studied natural sciences, others studied engineering, and we also have a bit of a business background too. How we all met is a bit interesting because we previously didn't know each other. So it all started thanks to EIT Health, actually. This is back in November, a few months ago now. We met in the I-Days challenge in Barcelona. That, for those of you who don't know what it is, and to give you a bit more background, it's basically a 1-week-long challenge that promotes health innovation among university students, and it's held at different academic institutions, not just in Barcelona, but also around Europe. And in our case, it was held at the Start UB. And basically, we received an introduction to practical health innovation tools and competed in various teams to tackle real-life health challenges. I-Days used to be on site, but for reasons you all know, this year it ended up being remotely done. So we, as I said, in a very unique way, all met through Zoom in November. And then we dedicated fully ourselves to this challenge for a whole week. We then were asked to come up with a solution that would improve effective sexual education amongst young people. So in that period of time, we had to pitch our idea, and really to our surprise and excitement, we were selected as the top project. And thus we were also given the opportunity to compete in the I-Days Winners event, which is done through Europe, not just with Barcelona, but competing against winners from other challenges. And just as a side note, this was obviously also organized by EIT Health and Imperial College. So more than 25 teams comprised the event, and we were all required to submit a pitch, a 4-minute pitch. Having only 2 weeks between both events, I believe it had advantages and disadvantages. If I can remark an advantage, it's probably that all of the hard work and ideas that we had in our challenge in Barcelona were still pretty fresh. But as a disadvantage, maybe it's that within those 2 weeks, we maybe didn't have enough time to close up a couple of details that we wanted to close up. And also the level of the competition was like extremely high. Some of the teams had impressive projects and ideas. So it was, I think it was really a surprise to all of us that we ended up coming up second, and which was amazing. Only the whole experience being there was already a gift to us, to be honest. But thanks to the second challenge, we're here today, and we also were able to enter the EIT Health Mentoring Network, which is something that I'll give a bit more detail later on. So, as I said, this is all new to us, but a couple of days ago, some of us were in a talk by one of the co-founders of Bleda, which is actually a startup also based in Barcelona that's trying to develop tablets focusing on facilitating the use for older people. And he mentioned something that I thought reflected a bit the reasons why we had succeeded in these competitions. He presented these statistics, which I'm citing the investor Bill Gross, that basically what they're saying is that it's not enough to just have a great idea or have the best business model, that there's also a lot of other factors that you need. And I think it reflects a bit why we, as I said, were successful in the challenges, because the amount of effort and time and execution that we tried to give during those events were, let's say, significant and substantial. But having said that, let me give you a bit more background now on what Parolu is and what it consists of. So to start off and to make things a bit more maybe dynamic, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. And if anybody wants to answer through the chat, please feel free. I don't think I can see the answers right away, but my teammates are here also, so they'll be able to see the answers. First off, I'd like to ask if you ever received any sexual education, and if so, who gave it to you? Was it your school? Was it your parents? Was it your friends? And how many sessions do you think you ever got as a teenager or as a young adult? For me, as a personal experience, my parents were always willing to give advice to me, but I guess they struggled a bit in finding the way on how to do so and when to start what they now classify as these uncomfortable situations / conversations. And on the other hand, I also remember that we used to have a few talks during school, some expert in the field, such they would come to our school and give a 1 hour long talk and give us a couple of advices. But to my opinion, this was not enough. And I believe it was also given at a late age, because I think our first talk was when we were around 15 years old. And by that time, at least myself, but I believe that everybody else also probably had already Googled some stuff on the internet or gone to other sources and got what we would later on realize was definitely the wrong information. So this brings me to my second question. And again, feel free to answer through the chat. So do you think that the sexual education that you received was enough? Did you learn a lot? Because again, in my case, and I'm only speaking from my personal experience, but I think this is also shared through our team, we didn't learn too many things, and the information that we got was definitely a bit heterocentered. We didn't learn that there's more than 2 genders. We didn't learn how to discover our sexual selves, or that maybe like sexuality is often seen as fluid. All these concepts that we learned way too late, in our opinion. So I'd say effective sexual education was quite poor for us. And having done some research, not just inside the team, but also in other young people from our school and our city, we realized that this was a bigger problem, that it was not just a particular case, but it was pretty common. So as I said, we clearly have a problem. We identified there was a problem. And some of the reasons that we concluded were explaining why it is not sufficient to have the current sexual affective education that we have is that not all European schools include affective sexual education in their school's curriculum. Current sexual education usually doesn't involve emotions, which is the affective part that we put a lot of emphasis in. And also that sexual education is being taught late and sporadically, as I said. Having identified the problem, we then provided a method to start a change. And where was the best place to start this change? We believed it was with the link between adults and children. So we made Parolu be born through this link between adults and children. So Parolu, as I briefly mentioned, is an interactive application that will make this connection happen. And by connection, I mean the link between children and adults to make the change in effective sexual education. So as an overview of how it works a bit, I'll try to play this video, actually, maybe that. So basically, you create your profile as an adult or as a kid. You then decide to explore the episodes, and how you explore these episodes is that you get asked a few questions, put yourself into real life situations. And basically the part that we hope is emphasized is that you get to pick your decisions, but you also get to experience all the consequences of making those decisions. We also plan on having additional features, such as being able to speak with experts and maybe ask any questions that you might have. And also what we want to mention is that the content of the app is age adapted, and that is based on the WHO standards for sexuality education in Europe, and that is developed by expert professionals. So again, let me see, that should be it. Parolu is a platform where families learn together. It creates a communication space where children can talk and ask their doubts. Families will enjoy rediscovering effective sexual education through interactive and engaging episodes. And that will take you from basic to advanced concepts. So, but we're not here to give you a pitch about a company, but what we want to emphasize is that from Parolu, there are some benefits, is that we hope that children will benefit from an interactive and attractive way to learn, that they will engage and motivate themselves more than with the current methods. On the other hand, adults will find a tool to create a communication link with their children and hopefully build a safe and comfortable space to discuss any matters. We know that therapists, or we hope that therapists will be able to promote themselves and reach new targets through our platform. We also hope that teachers will obtain a supplementary tool to complement their methodologies in the classroom. But overall, our main emphasis lies on benefiting from a healthy, effective, and inclusive society. This might be a bit more technical, but we also wanted to speak a bit about our roadmap. So here's our projection plan. And again, this is just a, I guess, hypothetical situation, which maybe might not be the right word, but we plan on having a prototype by August 2021 and start our pilot test in some schools by September 2021. After some validation and adjustments, we plan on a first launch by September 2022 with versions starting off in English and Spanish. And then we will gather data and results from these preliminary steps and translate to other languages, aiming for a second launch by September 2023. And by 2025, we hope to be a key player in the sector. So considering the roadmap we have just seen and taking into account the status of our project, we would say that we're just entering the prototype step, which is the second one in this picture that you're now seeing. As we have already defined the idea that will be the solution to the problem, we think we've covered the first step or somehow, but we are definitely still, as it says, getting a feel for it and playing a bit with this idea. The good part is that we're not alone in this process. We are lucky enough to be a part of a couple of acceleration programs. Currently, we're part of the Explorer Start UB pre-incubation program designed to help startups in their early stages succeed by providing workspace formation and training. And at the same time, EIT Health is giving us mentoring sessions as part of the Prize from the Innovation Days Challenge, where experts are helping us assess our idea and then evaluate the next steps that we want to take. I mean, as you all know, creating a company is extremely difficult. You still need the timing and the team to be the right ones. And we are really, really grateful that we have been given this opportunity by these programs, because they are really the main help and for us to grow through these initial steps. And these are experts that have built hundreds of companies and have been through the same process, and hearing their experiences, it's been really, really helpful for us. So Parolu hopefully is going to be an active part of this needed change for the ultimate goal of having an inclusive, diverse, and integral effective sexual education. we believe that this reality is present in our day-to-day, but we think that we might need to gain consciousness about its importance and the impact it has in our lives. We also think that we could all benefit from this change, but we need everybody to collaborate in order to create a positive impact. So we hope that with our talk today, maybe you got the same feel, at least that we get that there's a real need, that there's a change that needs to happen, and that Parolu could be the right fit for this change. And any feedback, as I said, is more than welcome. Feedback, suggestions, advice, anything really. So thank you for all your attention. Find us on Twitter, Gmail. If you have any questions now, that's great. If you prefer to email us later on, that's also great. And please don't hesitate to reach us.
Well, thank you so much, Alba, for this introduction. What are you doing as a team? And I think it's super exciting to have all of you here as well. So Alba, Carla, Dania, Blanca. When watching this, I was actually thinking that this is really interesting. I mean, it's like currently the 20 schools you are focused to kind of launch in the new school year. Those are based also in Barcelona then, right?
Right. So when we mentioned the prototype pilot steps before the first launch, those will definitely be based in Barcelona because of logistic and accessibility. But what about the 20 first schools? We also wanted to reach out to international schools because, as I mentioned, we plan on doing so in English and Spanish, because we know a lot of these things are sometimes like based on the culture, which changes from country to country. So having a different scenario, which is not just based in our country, is definitely going to be really helpful. But it is something that might be a bit more difficult to get internationally schools on board, but hopefully.
Yeah. One thing also, like everyone that is dialing in right now, I see that there has been one comment. Thank you, Pedro, saying that he got only 1 day sexual health education in primary school. But everybody else watching today, feel free to share your comments. I hope that you don't feel too taboo. I think we have even an option to ask questions at the Q&A section anonymously. So if you are feeling too shameful, you can do, I think, over there also without the name. So definitely let us know. But until those questions are coming in, I have still few. And I was thinking, like, how do you actually manage to pull it off? I understood that you put the team together in November, but I mean, you were still doing something. So either I can imagine some of you are studying, maybe some of you are working. Like, how do you find that time to work as a group? Like maybe Carla or Dani, Blanca, how do you manage to keep this kind of operations going besides all other obligations you have?
Yeah, sure. Actually, this is we're kind of a bit thankful to coronavirus because, of course, we have the chance to work from home, and we can do that as well as at the same time we're working and studying. For example, Dani and Blanca are in Paris right now, in Paris, so it's actually possible as long as we manage to set a few meetings during the week and schedule some working hours together or independently, and we kind of manage that correctly, I'd say, yeah.
But basically also open that if somebody out there watching us today wants to, I don't know, give you a nice seed money, then you are willing to kind of drop all the other obligations and go full time to bring this education even sooner to the masses, because there is also I mean, summer season soon coming up, and at least I'm from the Nordics. And in the Nordics, we usually have midsummer season where all the babies are being made, me included. So the birthdays in March. That it's definitely maybe even more helpful to kind of get it out quicker, because I think people are excited to learn.
Yeah,
I was
no,
actually
it's
also thinking,
definitely.
yeah.
No,
You wanted to say something.
yeah, sorry, I don't know if my connection was no, that just to add to that, it's definitely a real need, and I guess that the more that we look into it, the more that we see that people are interested in this subject, and that we haven't seen many situations where someone has been completely uninterested by it, and it's true that maybe now that the summer comes, even more people are willing to listen to.
Yeah, actually, when they introduced us this problematic to us the first time, we were like, oh, this is not really a problem. We didn't think about it before, so it was like, that's not really a problem. And trust me, I mean, we were part of that. I mean, and now that the more we know about that, and the more we share, I mean, we understand that it's huge, and everybody should know about that. So it's like, yeah, the more we explain to other people, like, it's getting more known.
And I also understand that this is currently, like, I mean, from the problem statement, that it is currently super complicated, that there is almost no education in school, and I mean, people really have to Google it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, probably Pornhub.com is not the best educational site for this matter, but what about, like, I mean, in a way that it seems like, are you the only one, or is there even like some alternatives, or it's really like none?
Yeah, actually, there are some kind of initiatives. I mean, there are, for example, companies that sell their products, and they are doing some, like, let's say, podcasts and YouTube videos to share this kind of information, like educational information. But there are also similar initiatives, like from the government, that they are trying to include these kind of topics in the curriculum. But of course, we don't see that as competence, but allies to us, so we can work all together for the same purpose. So yeah, there are some things, but we believe that they have to be more efficient, because we need all the work possible to implement it.
So it sounds like a tough work ahead. One question that people, don't be shy. I mean, as you can see, like, this is a Zoom meeting, so people can't bite you. So all the attendees today, if you ask a question, no question is a stupid question, feel free, really. I mean, this is the best time. You have the experts here to ask those questions ahead of the Valentine's Day. Dani and Blanca, I know that you are focusing that how parents can teach kids, but I know that in some fields, sometimes also kids, I think especially in the field of technology, the kids are teaching their parents. I do think also, like, maybe sometimes the younger crowd could even like teach their parents in some matters that maybe they can. Would it also even work in the field of sexual health education?
Well, so since our solution is kind of very technological because it's based in an application, we really think, and our objective is to establish this relation between fathers or parents or whoever is in charge of the children. So we want to establish this relation between them, and if the fathers want also, because if not, it can be also done by the teachers at school. That in the case that it's done also in the house. And by establishing this relation, we think that we can create an exchange of information since the point of view of sexual education, but also from children, from the little ones, and from the technology point of view, they can teach also the fathers. And I think it can be very good for all the parties included in the solution.
Okay. As we are pan-European network here, one other thing that was popping up in my mind is that, I mean, the competition even you participated was very international. I'm wondering, like, as much as you have done now the research in the last 2 months or 3 months, is there also like some kind of like curious findings that you have discovered that maybe what are the most like if you would be the mythbusters, like what are the biggest misunderstandings that usually people are having in the field of sexual health that needs to be busted through your app that let's say our attendees should know as well? Like what would be the 3 things that usually people misunderstand and you want to say that, hey, this is the correct way of understanding?
I think that more than like facts or truths, there are some taboos that we want to break, you know, like things that we're not talking about and topics that we don't address correctly. So it's not more like true or false things that we know or think that we know, but more like, I don't know, like content and taboos that we want to break. So I don't know if you guys have an example, but let me think about it. I think that
Something that we want to remark is, as Alba mentioned in the presentation, that sexual education it's not only focused on the sexual act, but on learning about the same person, learning about how to communicate with others, how to have a healthy relationship, and how to, like, it's not only the act, but it comprises a lot of things that we think they're really important, and it's the basis for a healthy life and a healthy relationship.
yes, actually, that reminds me that, of course, another thing that we can share is that sexual education should not begin when we are like 15. It should begin like way before, like when we are 6 or 7, because there are some values that need to be introduced to the kids, and like let's say respect, or you know, that need to be like presented to the kids before they become teenagers and start having like relationships with others, you know. That's also
yeah. I mean, I think what you mentioned, like respect, I mean, that's something that you can teach to kids already, like, you know, from before going to school, and that's definitely the spot on. We have one more questions coming in, and it's so what countries are advanced in sexual health education in Europe, and have you found out yet that like in European Union we have like quite a bunch of countries, which you would say are more advanced and which maybe need even more help if you're looking on the European level?
I think one clear example that we all agreed on was, I think, Finland, which were including sexual education from the age of 4 or 5, like at a really, really early age, which is what what Blanca mentioned, that they obviously put an emphasis also on a lot of questions that might not be thought as sexual education at first, but are really a part of how you get to know your body, how to deal with other people around you, how to deal with emotions. And then yeah, they definitely, I think, are way ahead than the most countries who sometimes don't even have the curriculum right now. On the other extreme, I don't know what my teammates think. I'm sure there are some countries who maybe don't have right now the most liberal or open-minded political forces right now, and that sometimes also makes it a bit harder to implement some of these new concepts, or I wouldn't say new concepts, but these ideas that are not always shared amongst everybody. So
have you also looked any kind of correlation how COVID-19 actually has impacted this field? I remember a year ago, I was reading the news that in New Zealand, the sale of sexual toys had tripled once like the country went into the lockdown. That how, for example, this situation has impacted the European Union or the countries, maybe even Spain, like that has that had an impact on the field?
Yeah, I think this is something that we've all been hearing this time, which I think there's two things that we've heard a lot here in Spain, that this COVID-19 is either gonna mean a baby boom or it's gonna mean like splits between couples going up as well. Like it's either going to be one or the other. And I think they're both part of sexual education, because one deals with emotions and living through different situations that maybe you could start learning when you're a kid, and the other one also deals with sexual education. So that's definitely been going up these past few months. And yeah.
Yeah, I think we should really look into that. Like, let's see if there are some statistics after that or something. I mean, it's an interesting topic, I think.
But do you have a hunch, like as a team, that, I mean, you have been, I mean, in at least in the field of economics or somewhere, like everybody's an expert and saying like, hey, the world is going to be like that. Of course, the real life shows that I mean, if everybody would know what the world is, we wouldn't have like recession. Often even like COVID-19 was not predicted, but if you would take a hunch, then what that would be?
A hunch about the economical impact of sexual education, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like would be, I mean, I have seen, I think like I mean, it's how it's called, like I don't know, I think it's not called sex tech. I see that this kind of like certain fields are like booming. Like, do you think like this kind of sex education could be the next could Parolu be a unicorn in that sense, for example?
I could answer this. I mean, the way we plan to develop all the episodes, which they are very interactive, where the children can, it's like a kind of a film where they can choose each the following scene, and we think that if these episodes are quite engaging for the children and also for the fathers, we can create this feeling of engagement and this feeling that I want to know more about the history. So maybe we can do it by creating good content, good audiovisual content, for example.
And I think the visual content could be even like practical. I remember the Netflix show Sexual Education, where I think there was one guy was trying to, I think there was like a gay couple, and then one was trying to explain, I think there was something like they were too shy to have the intercourse because one didn't know how to do an enema, that it was like, you know, you had to kind of show like how this process works, because like I think we still might have even like people who like might think that using a condom is good if you have it in your pocket, but you know, there is a way how you should use it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, I think that not only for kids or teenagers, but also for their parents or responsible adults. I mean, it's knowledge that it's useful for everyone. So that's kind of also like the interesting part of Parolu, that we want to provide this knowledge to like everyone, you know.
We have one question coming in as well. There is Philippe asking that what is the optimal number of intercourses per week? Because he has seen that in Brazilian TV some years ago, the national TV, they were saying like, you know, people are getting more obese. So the solution is to have more sex because it burns more calories. So I think this is a question that comes up every now and then. Probably married couple maybe have it less. But what do you think, like, let's say our audience, people in their 20s and 30s, what would be the number?
I think that, at least in my case, I'm not an expert in that topic. That's why we want to like include experts to develop the content for the app. But I'm not sure actually. I mean, I think it depends on I don't know.
Yeah, I to add to what Carla said, obviously as a personal view, and again, we're not experts on this. I guess the emphasis is on each person is different. Yes. Each person has their own needs. So each person needs to know works for them and what they want.
Yes, for both of them, the couple. I mean, both of them. Yeah, of course. I don't know. Sorry.
And exactly, Anna is also saying in the comment section that there is no right number, that every person is different. I think it's like jogging, actually. It's like, you know, some people do it once a week and then they go swimming, or I don't know, doing something else. Okay, audience, still like, feel free to ask questions. We have Carla, Dani, Blanca, and Alba here for you. Yeah, but one thing probably people maybe are too shy to ask. What do you like if you have the message for the coming weekend? Like Valentine's Day is usually might have a pressure, at least in some countries. What you would suggest to the people first who are already in couples? Maybe your message to those people, and then those who are separated or single, what would be your sexual health tip for this coming weekend?
I would like to point out the fact that to relate it with sexual education, but for both parts, for those who are in a couple and for those who are not in couple, and maybe they would like to. It is very important, the emotional part, and it is not related. Maybe you can be 30 years old, but if you never learn this part of the sexual education, it is very important to learn how to respect, to address to each situation, to each emotional situation. And it is never too late to learn this part of the sexual education, and we can all learn from this.
So basically, regardless, either you are 4-year-old in Finland or I don't know, 80-year-old Spanish, there is still a good reason to. I think your app, is it already? It's not available yet, but once it's out, then all of those between those age groups are welcome to download and play those simulation games and find the answers.
Yeah, definitely, because also it might be useful for someone in an age group to live situations from a different age group just to understand them maybe better. Like that's something that we were trying to aim, is to be able and let our users put themselves in these real life situations that might not be their own, but they still can then maybe get a bit closer to relate to them and be able to understand some of the other stuff.
And one more question coming in, I see, is like, is there a way that our attendees today can help you? Like, for example, I mean, like I know that you are busy currently, like you're doing this from let's say your free time, but is there a way that our attendees, or like even if you are watching this later as a recording on YouTube, they can reach out? What is the thing you would need most help with, and what the people watching today could maybe like give a helping hand?
As I said, any feedback is welcome. Like really, even all these questions are also giving information to us and making us think of what people think about when they hear about our app. If anybody has the time to fill out the survey at the end, that's obviously really helpful already. I don't know if my teammates have a specific thing in mind of.
Well, yeah, I mean, if someone from another country that it's not Spain wants to explain their experience, or like where did they learn education, similar things, I mean, that's useful as well, because we're quite familiar with the Spanish like context, but I mean, we would appreciate if someone from outside, of course, from Spain as well. I mean, we accept that as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I see more questions coming in. People are anxious about. do you think that, I mean, we know that there are different genders out there. Do you think that the problem of this lacking sexual education is equally strong between all gender groups, or like so far you have seen also like certain differences between the gender groups and they, let's say, sexual and family planning literacy?
So I think that one of the statistics that we first came out with, it was that I think amongst kids that are in the non-binary heterosexual groups, they usually are the ones suffering more from depression and struggle more with these questions. And that is something that we really want to emphasize in Parolu to shift this centered way towards including everybody and trying to be more diverse. So we definitely think there is a problem currently about how this education is being centered. And that is actually one of our focus, to remove it and include everybody.
Okay. Wait a second. We have even like, okay, one more interesting notion coming in. Like we were previously discussing in Europe, we were giving out the example of Finland. There are also maybe some people watching this show later on YouTube dialing in outside Europe. And I understand that also, actually, if you make the version in Spanish, it could be useful, for example, in Latin America or beyond. Do you think like you could also then like, what is, do you have any insights, the situation on sexual health education also outside Europe, and if there are some maybe good examples you can bring, maybe shine some light for us?
We did some research, but we were mainly centered in Europe. At this moment, I cannot remind what we found, but sorry, I cannot. But yeah, we did found some things.
Okay, well, I think it's probably interesting, maybe even to work. Like it could be part of the expansion plans, being maybe the first unicorn in this field that going. Actually, something that I personally know also. I think I was meeting one startup that was based in Singapore who wanted to focus on sexual health in India and Pakistan. That, you know, sometimes very conservative countries where, okay, in Europe we are maybe lucky to have that one day in the school of 12 years, but probably there are some countries even where they don't have that one day in 12 years, and there is nothing, and definitely Parolu could go those markets as well in the future. And yes,
right, that might be, it's a great point, and it'd be a dream for us, which also is one of the things that we're trying to work through these acceleration programs, is on how do we get over that barrier of people that might be more conservative, or countries that might not be willing to get involved in any of these. This might be something that we still might not have a concrete answer on how to do so, but it'd be obviously great to, because those are probably the places where you also want to do most of your work. I mean, like the example of Finland, I'm sure the amount of work that needs to be done in countries that already implement a sexual education program through early ages, it's a bit different than countries that might not even consider this anytime soon. So
yeah, I think one of the interesting things that sometimes when you're building startups is also that you even maybe in the early days know like what is your final biggest market. There is, for example, one Estonian unicorn, Bolt. It used to be Taxify. They started out in Estonia, but nowadays the biggest markets are in Africa, which would be maybe unthinkable. So very excited to think like where Parolu, you and the team, probably the team, let's say 10 years from now is much bigger, but what is the impact we are going to see there? Again, a reminder for the audience, feel free to put in the questions that you are excited or can't. Because of not knowing the answer, you can't sleep at night because that's not good. But in the meantime, I have also one more question, and that is like what is the most kind of like crucial? Like, I mean, you have been working now 3 months. What has been the most hard while developing this? Like, is like a particular challenge that was like really like trying to stop you down while on this development track?
I could say that for business model was one point of all the process where we struggled a lot, because trying to find a business model where it treats with education is kind of difficult. We wanted to give education for free, the main principles of education, but you also need that the startup could be maintained also. So trying to find the business model, it was kind of difficult for us.
Yeah, I would say also that in general, we connected to the group. We connected really fast, and we understand each other really well. So we don't have any problem with that. But also, one thing that we would like to do is to meet more often and share physically, not on internet, because sometimes it's a bit different, and it's a shame that coronavirus takes in this situation. But anyway, we think we gave our best in each situation, and we are really happy about it. So we think we get on really well with the problems we face.
And that's awesome. And actually, as another good thing, while now joining the I-Days, winning it, and becoming the alumni member, the good thing is that as we have 2,000 other health innovators across Europe that you can also dial in. They might be shy today, maybe to dial in, but definitely reach out. And everybody else watching us today, if you have a great idea, like the one you just heard today's webinar, Parolu, maybe in another field, but like helping healthcare, reach out us and like join. I think all of you are encouraging everybody else to join maybe the Idea Days in 2021 to come and help and innovate in the field of healthcare. You can also now see in the chat a link to the survey where the team has put some questions they would like to get your feedback on. So later, after dialing out from this webinar, feel free to click on the link and follow the questions. If you are still, I see that some people are somehow shy today asking the questions. We will be also sharing this recording. We are uploading it on the YouTube. Everybody who attended today, we can also share, I think, your team email address that they can contact you in private with either questions or, as you said, the feedback of any kind, maybe also a way to support your idea in Spain or any other European country or beyond. And also we have posted, if you are watching us today and you're not member of EIT Health Alumni yet, you can now see a link that you can join and become the EIT Health Alumni by clicking that link. Likewise, if you have any questions, you will also find that the exact website. Any last words from Alba, Carla, and Dani? Maybe all of you, you can say one final message to your, from you and the team to our audience today, before we wrap up.
I'll just say thank you to all of you who joined. I think I already spoke enough, so I'm gonna let my teammates say final words.
Carla, what is your final word for people watching us today?
Well, thanks. First of all, thanks for the opportunity to share this. And then please, share with us what you think about us, what you think about this problem. If you know, any similar initiatives, any kind of help is much appreciated. So please don't forget to share if you can. So thanks.
Blanca, what is your final word for our audience today?
Yeah, same as what Carla and Alba said. Thank you very much for listening to us, for letting us have this opportunity. And of course, feel free to comment, to join, to whatever you think that came. So it's our first time. We are working on it. So any kind of comment and advice would be really great for us. And I don't know, you want to say something?
Yeah, I would add that we are very thankful, as for example, Blanca and I, that we are in biomedical engineering, but also for the point of Carla and Albert, that all the effort that EIT Health is doing on innovation for healthcare, because it's really needed. And I would add that try to think in each situation of your day-to-day and see, because if you are really aware of this, there are many situations where you can address sexual education in your day-to-day life. So try to realize, and you'll see that it is really necessary for all the society, and we can all benefit from it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your all. I think it's at least I'm super excited to see what is the version. I would like to play with that and see what is the outcome. And I think we would be also very happy to invite you back after you have run that the pilot and done the validation to see what is the outcome in the real life. Maybe also in our community, people could get their hands on the real version and share it within this Health Innovators community over here. And I hope that you will be, as you put on the agenda, to be #1 in the field, not only in Spain, not only in European Union, but also expanding it globally, that everyone out there, either whatever country you are in today, whatever is your orientation or gender, that you would get the appropriate sexual health and family planning education that currently you can't get, not from your parents and not from your school, but together with Parolu, it would be possible, and hopefully very soon. With that, I thank you everybody for dialing in. The team, don't hang up yet, but everybody else, thank you for watching today. And if you want to see what are the next EIT Health alumni events, always you can go to alumni.eithealth.eu, visit the event section. And if you're not a member yet, feel free to join. You could see the link in the chat. Once you are the member, you also get regular email updates about all the exciting webinars, physical events, other opportunities within the EIT Health and the EIT Health Alumni Network out there. Thank you everyone for watching us today. Oriol is yours, right?
Yeah.
Martin, yeah.
I make him a panelist.
Okay.
And Robin, you are with us today. Promote to panelist.
Hello.
Hello, Oriol. Conecta la cámara.
Now, it was my problem, or I don't know. I tried to enter the conversation, but I can only go to the ¿cómo se dice? Public. I don't know.
Audience, yeah.
The audience.
Yes,
I realized that too late. I mean, there was like a long list of names, and this is like, I think that's the name.
Okay. No, it's not a problem, but I
No,
was
it's
like, what
everybody
I'm
had to
doing wrong, you know?
Everybody had to use a specific link. That's something that I was missing. Robin, are you here with us today as well? I think
Molt bé, nois.
maybe, I'm not sure. But anyway, I hope you had fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no,
And-
definitely.
Thank you very much, Timo.
And I know that the first, it's always hard